Welcome back, everybody. We are chugging along nicely. This is the No Such Thing as a Fish live comic relief marathon. We are coming up to fact number 17. Just a reminder, if you're just tuning in now, this whole thing is in aid of Comic Relief, the most fantastic institution, charity that is raising money for people all around the world in need. If you are watching this right now and you have a few pounds spare, please can you go to comicrelief.com/fish and give us whatever you can. We're trying to raise as much as possible. In fact, let's get a quick update on how we're doing. We are now up to £73,589. That's amazing. Thank you so much, everyone. But we want more. I want $1 million. I want $1 million. So we can do it. We won't, but we can get it. We can get it as close to that as possible. So please keep donating. And we're going to move on to our next guest now for fact number 17. I've got to say, we all just said hi to her for 2 seconds, and I am genuinely starstruck. This is the person who basically, if you could distill all 20 years of QI into single volumes of books, this one person has done that. She's been a huge inspiration for us. We've been reading her books basically from the get-go of QI and just thinking, how can we be as good as this? Her books include Bonk, they include Gulp, there's Packing from Mars, which is just extraordinary. Please welcome to the show for fact number 17, it is Mary Roach. Hey! Hi, Mary.
Hello.
Hi, you guys. I'm so excited to be here.
So lovely to meet you finally. Let's kick into it. Let's not waste any time. It is time for fact number 17, and that is Mary Roach.
Okay, fact number 17 is, the term dung lung for hydrogen sulfide poisoning as a result of exposure to liquid manure was coined by Dr. Robert Crapo. And I'm going to spell it for you because it's not like chapeau, EAU. It is CRAPO. Crapo. Like the Marx Brothers, sort of.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yes.
The shit Marx brother.
Yeah. That's the opposite of chapeau, isn't it? Like you do chapeau when someone's done something good. And if they do something bad, you go crapo.
Crapo. Yeah. And I love that you guys, when you used it, you said a result of exposure to liquid manure, when in fact the actual terminology was massive aspiration. In other words, drowning by liquid manure.
Did you pronounce that aspiration?
Yeah, I did pronounce it.
Nice.
Aspiration.
Yeah.
But we in America would say aspiration, like inhale and breathe, like falling down and breathing it in.
That's it's probably a relief for the viewers that it's not just exposure to liquid manure, because if every time you walk past a cow pat you were going to get a terrible disease, that would be terrifying. Yeah. So you have to actually fall into a vat of it, right?
Pretty much.
You have to go into a vat, be overcome by the poisonous fumes, lose consciousness, fall into the liquid, and aspirate it into your lungs. It seems like dung lung is kind of a benign, cute name for such a thing, isn't it?
Was this a fact that you found for one of your books? Are we hearing a sort of Mary Roach original? Right. And so how did you discover this?
I was, because I had a chapter on, actually I have 3 chapters in the book on Flatus, in Gulp. This was in Gulp. So anyway, there's one chapter that had to do with hydrogen sulfide, which is what makes farts smell so memorably bad. So hydrogen sulfide is interesting in that in small amounts, it just smells really bad. But when you, if you are exposed to large amounts of it, first of all, it paralyzes your olfactory nerve, so you don't really notice it anymore. And then if it's really large amounts, it kills you. So it's this, and that made me think, if I'm under the covers in the winter with my husband, and he's farting as he does, is that dangerous? So I was looking up hydrogen sulfide. I wanted to see how much hydrogen sulfide will kill you. Anyway, that led me to Dr. Crapo.
I was just thinking, Mary, if it is true about the farts under the bed and whatever, you said that once you stop smelling it, then there's another level before you die, right? So I think that's when you need to worry, isn't it? So if you can smell your husband's farts and they smell bad, then that's fine. If you stop smelling them, then you're in trouble.
Get out of town.
So it's for your own safety that you do all this research, really?
Yeah, it is.
Or is it to settle domestic arguments, basically?
Yeah.
I told you.
There was I also learned in that chapter supposedly women have slightly higher levels of hydrogen. Their farts stink more. Men have Men have a much greater volume.
Wow.
But women's apparently, this is science, people. This is science.
Makes so much sense. In my household, this is a source of constant irritation for the three men who live here compared to two women, because they say it's supposed to be that our farts smell bad. Why are you two so much worse? But it's just science. All women.
Just science. Just say that, Anna, to them.
Science.
Yeah. The science of people who study flatus, just in and of itself, not like how to have less, but just the people who really wanted to document it. I have another example of nominative determinism. They're one of the first guys to study human flatus or farts. He had this method where he put a tube, where you would expect, and it went into a balloon, etc. And he would gather it and everything. And he was British, and his name was Colin. You guys say Colin, not Colin, right? Colin.
Yeah, Colin.
Yeah.
Colin Leakey. Colin Leakey. I love him.
Really?
Yes, I do not make things up. I don't have that kind of imagination. Yeah, Colin
That is
Leakey.
beautiful.
That is so good.
Hey, did you guys ever hear about, in the early 2000s, a drug called Jenkum?
No.
Yeah, I have heard of that. It comes from poo, does it?
Apparently this was a moral panic in the 2000s. It's a hallucinogenic drug which is made from getting poo in a bottle and actually weeing into it and then shaking it all up together, and it ferments. And apparently if you then inhale the fumes, you get incredibly intense hallucinations, and it's all very exciting. It's like better than acid. Anyway, this is a genuine thing where teachers in America wrote to parents warning about it and saying, don't let kids do this. There was a video of a boy saying this is the best new drug, and it was this craze apparently for 2 or 3 years of everyone's taking Jenkum, and it wasn't debunked until about 6 or 7 years later. Someone looked into it and was like, no one ever did this. Why were you warning parents about? They just fell for schools and all adults fell for this idea. It's thought that maybe it was picked up in Zambia in the 1990s. It's possible that some street children might have been seen doing something similar. And I think it might work if you let some poo ferment. You're really desperate for it.
Was it the poo of any particular species?
I thought it was person.
Human. I thought it's human as well.
Yeah, I believe it's.
It doesn't feel like it would work, does it? It's not worth a try.
No. Unless it's a hydrogen sulfide thing. Maybe before you reach the point where you die, maybe it's you hallucinate. We'd have to talk to some of the victims of dung lung who survived.
Yeah.
Are there such people?
Yeah, there were. There were people who had lung damage, who I think just inhaled but didn't aspirate. They just inhaled too much, and they had lung damage, irritation and such. There's another myth, similar kind of, and I tried to find, when I did Gulp, I went onto YouTube because I needed to know this. It was important. But they used to hear, when I was a kid, you would hear if you fart and you take a hold of match, that if people who have methane, this is what I heard, that because about a third of us fart methane in addition to hydrogen, that it would look like a pile, it would burn blue. But there's nothing on the internet, nothing.
Really?
Well,
I think, yeah.
We're seeing conspiracies because it's quite late at night now in the UK. Are you seeing what I'm seeing, James? A massive conspiracy to stop people burning their farts.
Oh, are you
And seeing
that,
blue. Sorry, I'm swallowing Dan's Kool-Aid.
Did anyone try it as a kid? I feel like I must have seen my friends doing it, but I'm obviously just thinking of the myth.
I have a memory of that happening, but again, it could so easily be a false memory. You never know. That, like, as soon as you learn about false memories, you suddenly just think, well, all these things that I thought I knew, I'm going to have to look them up again because I'm not sure that's right. Yeah.
I think the blue thing, I think everybody lit them.
Yeah, everyone tries to light a fart.
Everyone tries to light them. Has anybody really seen a blue?
But do they succeed? Yeah, that's the...
Yeah, I mean, Anna, in your house, Anna, in your house, you have the fire brigade on constant standby.
So, but we're talking. Okay, so we're saying that there is a flame, but it's not necessarily the blue flame. It's not Bunsen burner level. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I can't imagine a Bunsen burner.
Well, human pilot light.
Yeah.
But Anna, you've got a fact about what happens when you fart over. It was a scientist who wanted to test the potential of microbial growth if exposed to human farts, and so they farted over petri dishes, I think, and they were closed or unclosed, and the conclusion that they came to was don't fart naked onto food that you intend to eat.
Yeah,
because that did have the potential for microbial growth.
It's good to know.
It's a great piece of life advice, and it's one that since that episode I have taken.
It's life-changing for me, really.
Everyone appreciates it. Anyone who's ever been to a restaurant with you, really.
I was thinking, just because of the subject matter, I had a thought that if we had to sort of close off this podcast altogether and preserve just one single fact that we've said this whole time, mine is relevant to this conversation, which is that I discovered, Mary, and this was a headline fact for me, the whoopee cushion was invented by a Roman emperor called Bassianus. Now, obviously, it's I'm pronouncing it different, but it's written Bassianus. Yeah, and this was Elagabalus. That was his childhood name, and he changed it to Elagabalus, and he invented the whoopee cushion, as far as we can see. Just fantastic. It's not really nominative determinism, I guess, but it's bloody close.
Didn't you say there was you had another great one? Gasaway, who was?
Yeah, it was Thomas Jefferson had really bad bowels and he had lots of diarrhea and he tried to treat it by bare horseback riding. He thought that would sort of sort it out, but one of the doctors who was looking after him had the middle name Gasaway, who was trying to get the gas away. Yeah, that was his doctor.
You'd employ that guy.
Yeah,
you would.
You know, Anna, you've always been saying that you have nominative determinism, but you should have the opposite.
Yes.
Which is nominative indeterminism.
Yeah.
Well, there are some words for this. I found some words. Inaptronyms is one. Or disatronyms, or melaptronyms, or caconyms. There's 4 different words. None of them are that common, but yeah.
Basically, isn't it? The caconym.
Yeah.
Comes from bad. So things like examples of this would be that I think the police commissioner in Philadelphia is currently called Danielle Outlaw. That's isn't it?
Yeah, and that's a good. And the author of, I came across this just recently. It's a children's book called The Bacteria Book, and it's by Stephen Mould.
Oh, we know Steve Mould.
Yeah, Steve Mould. Yeah, he's our buddy. Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh, that's great. Yeah. There's one I had about 6 of these in Gulp. Well, actually 2 of them were the anti-determinant, whatever you just called it. There was there was a guy, the word Alvine means related to the intestines. And there's a Dr. Gregory Alvine, and you would think he would be a gastroenterologist, but he's an orthopedist, which is just like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Extremely disappointing.
That reminds me of the first female dentist who trained in England, who was called Fanny Payne. And she definitely should have been a gynecologist.
Well, James, she specialised in vagina dentata. That was
those are you.
And then there was the first male midwife delivering babies. I don't know how to change. Have I frozen? No, sorry, I thought I froze it. I keep freezing. the first male midwife. God, I wish I could think of what that word would be.
It's a midwife. I think it's just a midwife.
Just midwife. Yeah. So he was called Willie Smelly. Again, should have been working.
What?
Well,
proctologist.
dealing with I don't know, weird penis things. Yeah.
Dealing with smelly willies. Is that a specialty?
Smelly was the one who did Britannica, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He also
well.
edited the first. God,
That's a different
busy man.
It's a different Willie Smelly.
Because I was going to say over your right shoulder there, I think you have some original Willie Smellies, perhaps.
Do I?
Maybe.
Oh.
Very early Britannicas there.
Yeah.
Actually, one of our favourite Dr. Willies, a favourite of the podcast, who is related sort of to Flatus type things, is the person who was the doctor of President Garfield. So President Garfield, when he was shot and had to be fed through his rectum, the doctor who did this was called Dr. Willard Bliss.
His first name.
It's a stunning arrangement of names. You call the doctor, you got the surname Bliss.
Was he named to thank the doctor who had delivered him?
I think so,
and just hadn't.
Yes.
They hadn't thought of asking the doctor what their name was, so just named the doctor.
Yeah.
Well, it was great because Dr. Bliss, Dr. Willard Bliss, wasn't a particularly great doctor. In fact, he kind of killed Garfield in various ways, and not the least of it with the rectal feeding. But anyway, so you could strip him of his license, but he would still be Dr. Bliss, no matter what you did.
Oh, he's bulletproof. Yeah, that's brilliant.
You got there's an ENT specialist I found in Mexico called Dr. Pickett, which is just nice. You pick it, you pick your ear, you pick your nose. You don't pick your throat, I guess.
James and I actually met this guy who was called John Hoyland years ago at a Ig Nobel event, which was run by Mark Abrams, and he's the guy who actually came up with the term nominative determinism.
Oh yeah,
and it's just so he's passed away sadly, but it was so
from New Scientist, right?
Yeah, it was from New Scientist. He worked in the back pages there. He did all the sort of collecting people sending stuff in, weird notes and stuff, and he coined it. And it's played such a big part in our podcast's life. We love a nominative determinism example, to know the creator of the term. And
Did he have a name? Was he called, John Name or something?
No, it was Hoyland, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I think it was, he spotted a book on the Antarctic by Mr. Snowman. I think that was, he first went, okay, that's interesting. And then he saw a scientific paper on, I think it was to do with the urinary tract by J.W. Splatt and D. Whedon. And
Splatt.
Yeah. And so.
I was going to say.
Is there something in it? Is it true? Nominative.
I read a study that is vaguely recent about. I couldn't believe someone had actually looked into it. It's from 2013. The study is called "The Brady Bunch: New Evidence for Nominative Determinism in Patients' Health," and this was specifically looking at whether people whose names were Brady were more susceptible to bradycardia, which is having a heart rate that's too slow. And so they looked up all the Bradys in the phone book, and they did find out that they were significantly more likely to have pacemakers.
But
most people don't know that. But a lot of people don't know that word as well, do they?
Yeah, exactly.
No, seems bizarre.
Yeah.
Although, amazingly, the person who holds the Guinness World Record for the lowest heart rate ever is a man called Brady.
Guinness World Record for the lowest heart rate ever. Talk us through that one, because...
aside from dead people.
Okay.
You're disqualified. This is Martin Brady, who actually listens to the show, and he wrote in about 4 years ago and said, here's my facts. By the way, it's me. He's got a heart rate that, for unknown reasons, is like 32 beats.
I think he could slow it down, can't he? Is he one of those people?
No. I think it's just slow.
Oh, okay.
I remember replying, going, wow, that's awesome. Oh, my God, how come? And he was like, it's actually kind of a serious thing. The doctors are looking into it. But he's fine. He's just got this mysteriously low heart rate.
Wow.
Have you guys ever been hooked up to a thing where I had to have an operation a few years ago, but it was one where you stay awake all the way through it? And I think maybe to entertain me, they put the monitor within my eyesight, and it's so much fun trying to make your heart go as slowly as possible mid-operation. because you're trying to slow it down as much. You're getting your breathing right. You're trying not to breathe in. Eventually, you have to breathe in, and it speeds up a little bit. But you're trying to get yourself calmer and calmer. I recommend it
anytime I go to the doctor and they take my blood pressure, I try to do that, which is really stupid because I probably have really high blood pressure and I'm going to die soon because I'm always like, I want to really. It's like a personal best to try to get it under.
Yeah. Hey, can I just quickly say, I'm just looking at the latest amounts that we've raised for Comic Relief so far, and we are at £74,280. Such an amazing amount. It'd be so great to get it to 75,000 in the next, 10 minutes. It'd just be awesome to sort of feel that we're on that home stretch at 75% to $1 million.
Yeah.
But no, really appreciate everyone who is sending in all the money. It really is a huge difference. It's way more than we thought we'd get. Thank you to Hannah, who's just done it, to Jim. There's so many people who are donating. So just a quick aside to say thank you. And let's continue on with Rectum Chat.
If there's anyone listening to this called Mr. Adrian Millionaire, now is your time.
Who wants to be Adrian Millionaire? There was go on, sorry.
No, I was going to say, before we change topics, I just have to tell you who did my colonoscopy personally. Michael, I've only had one. I'm not. We
were going to ask you anyway. So.
I know. Yeah, it seems logical. His name is Dr. Jonathan Turdeman. And when I went in and I said, he said, "Do you have any questions about the procedure?" Blah blah blah. And I said, I just have one question. How many times a day do people say something about your name? And he's completely deadpan. He goes, "What do you mean?"
Wow.
And we have, just to mention as well, we have a donation of $50 just now from a Lula banker. So thank you. There we go.
Whoa.
Perfect.
It does work.
It works. Yeah. It works. Yeah.
I feel like I should say thank you actually to, don't know if they're donors yet, but 3 people who've given me a fact that I have to mention here. Stephen, George and David, 3 separate people who all emailed in this fact. Many of you may have seen it, but it's so good. So, Shoe Zone, the discount shoe chain. So you see this week that the finance director of Shoe Zone, who's Terry Boot, has been replaced by Peter Foot.
It's amazing.
Great.
We actually got that, or I at least, and I think the others as well, got that tweeted to us by at least 5 different people this week. It's such a us fact, isn't it? So good.
Do you remember that guy? Do you remember Michael Foot was the leader of the Labour Party, and he was at one point he was appointed to a military committee of some kind. He was appointed to be the leader of it, but it led to the greatest newspaper tabloid headline ever, which was "Foot, Heads, Arms, Body." And that was
wow,
just perfect.
Yeah.
Do you remember the guy in 2019 who took over Nintendo in America, whose name was Bowser?
No,
Doug Bowser. Bowser being one of the evil characters in Mario, runs Nintendo America. Awesome.
Very cool.
Excellent.
Definitely how he got his job.
There was another vague. Oh yeah, sorry. Go on, Mary.
No, go on.
I was going to say a vaguely medical normative determinism that I liked was at the start of COVID last year. There was someone who was in charge of looking at whether dogs or cats could spread it, like investigating dogs, cats, COVID. Can we get it from them? Can they get it from us? And he was called Dr. Thomas Sitt, which I just really enjoy him going into people's homes and the confusion. Is it yes? No, just talking to them.
It's kind of amazing to me that people don't, like, the people who are named this or the people who work with them, they don't take a great deal of glee from it. Like I was interviewed for Gulp for the saliva chapter. I was curious about, because there's enzymes in your saliva that break down protein, and so I was like, when they say in a laundry detergent enzymes, are those like spit enzymes? Is there spit in laundry detergent? So I call this, it's the Soap and Detergent Association. First of all, the guy who answers is Louis Spitz, which was just incredible. But then he goes, well, you know, I can't answer that. You need to talk to a detergent consultant. And his name was Keith Grime. And I'm like, Keith Grime? Really? And the guy's like, what? Like, just, I don't know. I guess they get used to it.
Mary, it feels like your whole life was written by a writer with a very bad imagination for names, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So many.
Or Dickens. It sounds, you know, you've got to match the person to their character.
Keith Grime, yeah.
Oh, really, Mary? I now sort of wish you were an insect infestation specialist or something.
Yeah. Or a fisher person.
Yeah.
Or
a fisher person.
Like a fisherman, but not a man.
Because a roach is a
type of fish.
Oh, right.
I didn't know that.
I did, but I'm clinging on. I think.
I thought that was a common name of a fish.
It's a common name, but like go with the cockroaches. It's what you think of first, isn't it?
I actually gave thought to writing a book about cockroaches, just so that
Brilliant.
I would write a book, but there's not that much to say. Maybe. Yeah.
A pamphlet. Do a pamphlet. Yeah. Please.
The world's oldest animal sperm was found by a researcher called He Wang.
Nice.
This was found, and there was a pair of animals who were having sex, and just as they were finishing, a bit of amber landed on them, and they were caught just after the act, and they found the sperm, which is more than 100 million years old.
Wow.
Whoa.
I know the previous oldest was about 17 million, so this is a lot older sperm than they've ever found. And
what a way to go.
Wang. Yeah.
Guinness, that's the Guinness record.
Yeah.
I think I saw He Wang and the Masters of the Universe. That was on when I was a boy.
Yeah.
I wish there was some kind of I could do something embarrassing for people to raise more money. I should have thought about that, like eating something disgusting, or I don't know,
How about
crap on the couch or something.
What's the rudest fact that you know? Is there one that you always think, I can't tell anyone that, and that you hide away?
Oh, I have a story, but I don't think we have time for it now. But it has to do with the anal wink.
Okay. We'll make time.
It's the one paragraph that was removed from Bonk because my editor just went through, crossed it out, and said no.
So Bonk was your book all about
sexual
life.
Physiology. Researchers like Masters and Johnson and Kinsey and people currently who study sexual physiology. And there's this guy, Ahmed Shafiq. He's dead now, but he's this Egyptian guy who studied reflexes of sexual intercourse and other reflexes. Anyway, I went all the way to Egypt for various. Just how could I not? Anyway, because he was going to do this demonstration of some of the reflexes of sexual intercourse, and I was like, how is this going to unfold? Anyway, we get there, and he says, "Oh, I'm really sorry. The person who was going to demonstrate has left, but I've arranged for another reflex to demonstrate." So he brings this male nurse in who stands up on the bed in this, doctor's office and drops his scrubs, and then Dr. Shafiq takes one of those pointers and then does this little thing where he scratches you asked me to tell this. If you scratch right along the anus, it goes like, it winks. It's called the anal wink.
Wow.
So, and I did this whole thing where I was kind of like, it reminded me when I was a kid, they had these like sugar Easter eggs with a little opening that you would look through, and there's like a picture of bunnies, and it was like this whole, and I was like, it reminded me of that, and I went off this whole thing, and my editor just goes, no.
Well, we're a strong yes to the anal wink.
Yeah.
If someone's giving you that wink, I think you already know that they're interested. Yeah.
Oh, Mary, we're going to have to wrap up. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's so good for us to finally get to meet you after having read all your books and been a fan for so long.
You guys are the best. I'm a fan, and I hope people give money. It's an excellent cause, and I'm so excited to I've been here. And,
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And if the anal wink can't get us to 75,000, I don't know what can. Please donate. We've got something.
Thank you for not making me pull my pants down. But if somebody pledged $2 million, I would do it.
Okay, for $2 million, an anal wink from Mary Roach. Let's do it, guys. Come on.
I will.
Adrian Millionaire, where are you? Oh, well, thank you, Mary. We'll hopefully talk to you again sometime soon. And everyone else watching, don't go away. We'll be back again in a few minutes' time. We're going down under now to meet one of the great Aussie comedians. It's Sean McAuliffe. We'll see you in a few minutes. Hey everybody, we hope you enjoyed watching that video from our 20-hour-long No Such Thing as a Fish comic relief marathon. There are plenty more videos to watch, but before you watch them, we're going to ask you to donate to the cause that we did this for. Go to the link below and you will be sent to comicrelief.com/fish where you can donate and help change lives. Donate now.